Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear Dhamma friends, today we are going to discuss about the impermanence, dealing with impermanence, anicca, how to deal with the impermanence. We are going to do this talk from the Das Buddhist House, Berlin. I hope you all can get something to your knowledge, how to practice impermanence in your day-to-day life. First of all, we have to know what is the impermanence. Impermanence, the Pali term anicca. In Sanskrit, we call anitya. Anicca means not permanent. Everything in this world are impermanent. We cannot say this everything permanent thing in this world. But we always think according to our understanding, according to how we feel, this everything that we associate are permanent thing. But according to Buddha's teaching, this everything in this world are changing every moment, every second. So that's why Buddha said there is no anything to happy or unhappy, because every second everything change. If something change every time, every second, every moment, we cannot say this is good, this is bad. We cannot give any opinions to something which is change. We have to accept them every moment, what we get, what we can see, what we can hear, what we feel, that everything we have to accept. Because if everything change, we cannot say this is good, bad, or ugly. This moment, it might be good. In the next moment, it might be not good. This moment, this might be bad. Next moment, it might be good. So that's why we cannot give any opinions to anything what we can see, hear, and feel. So now we can go to deep explanation according to Buddhism. How we can deal with this anicca. First of all, we have to clarify this uh, term according to Buddhism. Buddha said, Yad niccang tan dukkang, yan dukkang tadanattang. If something is impermanent, there is suffering. If there is suffering, there is no oneself. So I think I have to explain to you to understand this well. Yada niccam. If something impermanent, I told you at the beginning, everything are impermanent. Our mind and body, and also the things that we see, hear, and feel. This everything impermanent. I no need to explain. You may can see by yourself how far everything has been changed to now. So if something impermanent, there is no happiness or unhappiness. That's why Buddha said, Yadanichantam dukkam. If something is impermanent, that cause for the suffering. I would like to ask a question from you. Do you like to be suffer? Do you like for the suffering? No, you don't like for the suffering. You everybody like for the happiness, pleasurable feeling all the time. But could you keep that happiness, that pleasurable feeling all the time with you? No, you cannot. Still, you couldn't keep that happiness or pleasurable feeling with you all the time. It is changing all the time. In this moment, you might be feel happy, but in the next moment, you feel suffer. How it happens? Because Buddha said this mind and matters all the time change, impermanent. So if something is suffering, if the suffering is there always with us, there's no oneself. If the oneself are there, there is a person called I. If there is a person called I, he must be able to stop suffering. He must be able to continue his happiness his whole life. But it doesn't happen. If there is a oneself, he must be able to keep his happiness, pleasurable feeling with him all the time in his whole life. But it doesn't happen. Why? Everything impermanent. Now I will explain you how it happens according to Buddhism. Buddha explained about the Panchaskandha, Panchupadanaskandha. We call in English 5 aggregates. We, as we are human beings, we call a person Panchaskandha. As a human being, or Panchaskandha means human beings. Human beings means Panchaskandha. What is this Panchaskandha? What is this 5 aggregates? 5 aggregates are Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. If we separate this into 2 parts, mind and matters, we identify as a human being this mind and matters, this Panchapadanaskandha, this Panchaskandha. So, in English, if we explain one by one what is matters, what is mind. Matters means our physical formation. What are the things that include to our physical formation? Eyes, nose, ears, tongue, body, and mind. We call these 6 senses. 6 senses are included into our physical formation. This is called, we can call this subject. Or 6 senses. To these 6 senses, there are 6 objects. What are the objects? For the eyes, images, nose, smell, ears, sounds, tongue, taste, body, feelings, and mind, objects. We call in according to Pali, Dhamma. So these are the 6 objects that contact with the 6 senses. Now we can understand one by one these 6 senses. Our eyes also not permanent one. This is also impermanent. Since we born to this world until we die, our eyes every second change. It changes every second. Also the object which is contact with the eye, images also change in every second. If something we see at this moment, that is only true at this moment, that is only exist at this moment, that is only permanent at this second, but in the next second, that is another subject and object. So I think you understood. The same thing happened with the other 5 senses. We have the ability of see something to our eyes. According to that, we can see the images, When the eye touch with the eye contact with the images, we call something we see. But that time we have to understand this eye is not a permanent one. The image that we saw is not a permanent one. If that image is a permanent one, we must be able to continue that pleasurable feeling in every second. We must be able to remove, if we feel a unpleasurable feeling with the thing that we saw, we must be able to eradicate it, suppress it, remove it. But it doesn't happen. Also, we have to understand that unpleasurable feeling also not a permanent one. That pleasurable feeling also not a permanent one. That everything happen inside of our mind. So I will explain more deeper. I already explained what is happening with the eyes. When you see something, when the eye and the object contact together, you have the eye consciousness. The ability of eyes, what is the ability of eye? See something. If you have if you have eyesight, if you can see everything well, if your eyes are okay, then you can see everything what comes to your front. So what you get through the eyes, we call it next time what happens, passa. Passa means you touch it. From where you touch? From your mind. Because this everything related to our mind. Now I'm going to explain about now I already explained the matters. Matters are six senses. That is related with our physical formation. Now I'm going to explain about the mental side related with our mind. What are the related with our mind? There are four things. We call it Vedana, Sanya, Sankara, Vijnana. So I already explained our matters, our eye and the images also not permanent, that is impermanent. Nose and the smell impermanent. Also the eye, ears and the sounds impermanent. Tongue and the taste impermanent. Body and the touch, the feelings impermanent. Mind and the mind, mental side, mind and the objects are impermanent. These all the six senses and the objects are impermanent. If these six senses are impermanent, we can say our feeling side. After you touch something through these six senses, then you feel it. How you feel? You feel this is uh, good, this is bad. If not, equal feeling, good and bad, middle of that. So that equal feeling or good or bad feeling, is it permanent? No, that is also impermanent, because the main point main point means our eyes and the images, nose and the smell. If these six senses are impermanent, our feeling must not be permanent. That is also impermanent feeling. Next one, when the feelings are impermanent, the next one is sanya. Sanya means you identify, perception. What is the meaning of perception? You identify the feeling, sanya. The perception also not a permanent one. That is also impermanent. That is also impermanent. If the perception is impermanent, what is the next one? Formation. The formation also, or we can say volitions, formation also impermanent. If the formation is impermanent, consciousness also impermanent. Now you can see, in Pali we say Rupang Anicca. Rupang Anicca. Our matters are impermanent. Vedana Anicca. Feelings are impermanent. Sanya Anicca. Perception is impermanent. Sankhara Anicca. Volitions or formations also impermanent. Vijnana Anicca. Our consciousness also impermanent. Now you can say these whole five aggregates are impermanent. So then, now you can get a clear idea. This our whole world, which has created in our mind through these five aggregates, are impermanent. How we have created our own world. We have created our own world through these five aggregates. Buddha said, Sankittena Panchapadanakkhandha dukkha. If, if I say briefly, the attachment to these five aggregates is the suffering. Always this process is happen. What is the process? You see something through your eyes. Uh, I'm not going to explain all, but in briefly I say you touch this world through these six senses. Then you have feelings. Then you have a perception. Then you have a formation. Then you have a consciousness. All the time, this process is happening. Every second. Because we say we are living. We are living means uh, we touch this world all the time by using through these six senses. We always in one point. One point means We always in one or two senses. We are using some sense every time. If we don't talk, hear, or see something, that time we use our mental sense, our mind. So all the time we are using these six senses. So that for that we are calling, we are living in this world. So the problem is, while we are using these six senses, we all the time have feeling, perception, and formation and consciousness. So first we attach to our senses, our material side, our matters. We think this belongs to me. This physical formations is mean me. We think like that. This physical formation means me, I. We think like that. If if the physical formation me or my world, so because of these matters, if something feel me, that is also me or my. If something I feel, if I identify it, that perception also belongs to me. We think like that. And that is me or my world. Also the formation, me or my world. Also the consciousness, me or my world. We think like that. But actually what happens? These everything occurs in one moment, 1 second, and disappear. I told you at the beginning, our eyes, nose, ears, these six senses are impermanent. Every second, these are changing. The objects are also the same. These things every second change. So how we can say then feeling, perception, formation, and consciousness, these mindsets also permanent. These things also impermanent. So we have to understand this first. Then we can deal with this world. How we can deal with this world? With the anicca, with the impermanent. We have to accept everything, every second what comes to us, without giving any opinions to them. This is good or bad. Nowadays, we have to face for the corona situation, COVID-19 situation. This is also not a permanent one. This is also impermanent. This kind of disease come and goes. It exists, disappear. Also, you may have heard the variation. There are so many variations of this corona. That means when it start, it was a different one. When the time goes little by little, it has changed. That means corona also not permanent. That is also impermanent. This whole world same. What we have to do then, we have to understand this. We have to keep our mind in happy mood in this moment without giving any opinions, without doing any judgment. Because we cannot give any judgment. This mind and matters all the time change. How we can give any judgment to this change in world? If someone gives any judgment to this change in world, that person all the time get he gets all the time suffering. He might get happiness for the short period. He gives judgment according to his view, according to his world, what he has created inside of his mind. He gives that opinion, that judgment, according to how he saw, according to how he felt, according to how he heard. Actually, his eyesight, his hearing ability, his feeling ability cannot compare with the others. It belongs to him. It belongs only to him. So his ability and others' ability totally different. He thinks the things that I heard, that I saw, that I felt is the real thing. It is the real existing. But that only belongs to his world, his understanding. But for the other person, it feels in different way. So that's why we cannot give any judgment for anything. The other reason is that judgment is also not a permanent one, that is permanent only for his view. So you always have to be happy at the present moment. If you want to be happy, you have to accept the impermanent of the world. You don't try to change it. You don't try to think this everything always change. Always I get the suffering. Always I get the bad feeling. It is the world. This is the world because this everything has created with the four elements. If something has created with the four elements, according to uh, the four elements, according to their uh, values, according to uh, how they have created, they change. We cannot say, we cannot say you must exist like this. because these things not belongs to us. That's why Buddha said, Yadanichan tandukkam yandukkam tadanattam, because there's no oneself. If oneself, if there's a person called I, he must be able to change, because the reason is there's no called I. In this changing world, there is no same person who is exist. As I am a baby, I was not like this. Now I have totally changed. My physically and mentally I have changed. So this is the world. This world always change. Don't try to attach to this world. Don't try to attach to this world. This world means what you have created inside of your mind. How you create this world using the six senses and the mental side, mind, vedana, sanya, sankara, vinyana. That's why Buddha says Sankittena Panchapadanakkhandha Dukkha. Don't attach to five aggregates. Just observe it. Just accept it. What you see through your eyes, you accept it. You saw something. You feel something. The perception, formation, and consciousness. These all the things you have to accept as it is, without giving any judgment, without giving any opinions. Because if you give any opinions and judgment, then you are attaching, then you are touching that judgment, that opinion, not the reality. So that's why Buddha said you have to understand, realize this impermanent of this world. If you can see the impermanent of this world, you can keep your happiness all the time, because you accept the impermanence. If you don't accept it, until you don't accept it, you try to find the way to change impermanent. We are trying in the physical way, not the real way. Only simple thing that you have to do. Just accept all the things what comes to you as it is. You have to observe the impermanence, the changing. When you see the change in how it change, then you don't have to worry. Thoughts comes and go. The images comes and go. Smells comes and go. Sounds comes and go. Don't attach. Don't think the same feeling, same perception, same formation, same consciousness is there. When the eyesight getting weak, when the images change, the other all facts are changing. feeling change, perception change, formation change, and the consciousness change. So you have to know these things well, then you can deal with the impermanence. If not, you always have to be suffer with yourself. If you don't want to be suffer with yourself, you have to understand this well. The impermanence of this world means our panchaskandha, panchupadanaskandha, these five aggregates. This world exists in this human body. Our own world exists on this human body. This every world differs person to person. My world is not similar with your world. I have my own world. It has created according to my view. Until I realize the nature of this world, the reality of this world, until I accept this world as it is, I live in my own view. Because we always think our creative world is exist. But the our creative world, which has created by ourselves, that is a impermanent one, that is not exist. It is exist only in our mind. What is exist this world? Only mind and matters. So until we accept this, until we uh, accept this, we cannot understand, realize what is the reality is. So finally, I would like to say, please try to see yourself and accept the change in world. Don't think that everything exists according to our own view, which has created inside of our mind. Is everything change all the time? Observe that, accept it. Then you don't need to be afraid for anything, corona or anything, because corona, I already explained to you. The corona also change. It is also impermanent. When it started, it has only one kind of variation. Now there are so many variations, delta and different kind of. So if we can understand this everything in this way, so we all are happy. We all are, can be happy at this moment. If you can totally realize this, then you can be free from suffering also. So for that you have to practice a lot of meditation. You have to practice your mind. You have to train your mind for that. So I would like to finally bless you all. May you be able to understand this valuable teaching of the Buddha and attain the final bliss of Nibbana in this samsara, and you be able to uh, keep your mind peacefully. Also, you may be able to keep your physically healthy, and may you be able to attain final bliss of Nibbana. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Therewasana.